WatchDOG comes to you compliments Western Union, the fastest way to send and receive money worldwide. And furniture for WatchDOG provided by Hubbard's. Good evening. Welcome to WatchDOG. In our program this evening, we have with us Mr. Peter David. I'm not sure if I should call him a former politician, but nevertheless, he's contested 2 elections and has been quite successful. He's out on the fence this time around. Well, for now, the nomination has not gone as yet, so we wait to see what is going to happen. You never know; he just might change his mind. Andrew is here. Andrew is here.
Again?
Andrew is here, and gentlemen, welcome to WatchDOG. It's a pleasure.
I don't know why I keep coming back, but thanks for being able to welcome me.
We do have a lot in store. Usually when Mr. David is around, there's quite a lot to say. So we go to the break right away and we'll be right back.
It's the end of the month again. My son's rent is due.
Sending money to your children studying overseas is easy. Western Union's safe and reliable service lets you transfer money everywhere in the world.
My son is doing well at school. That makes me proud.
Western Union, moving money for better.
Dutch lady, the milk above the rest. No other milk can test. Taste it for yourself. Dutch lady milk, it's up vitamins and nutrients. You wanna stay fit? It's great for the family. Drink it, mix it, blend it up, make a tasty drink. Pour it in your cup. Infants, children, and adults. Dutch lady milk, yes, drink it up.
Dutch lady, drink the milk, share the love.
Dutch Lady Milk, available island-wide, distributed by Hubbard's Agency, located at Coroni James Boulevard, St. George. Call us at 435-0769 or 435-0771.
Available at Hubbard's Motor Showroom, Mungie, St. George. Phone 440-6093.
Hello, I'm Chef Didier and welcome to Meals in a Minute, brought to you by the Baron Gourmet Collection. Today we take you back on a culinary trip to Asia for a shrimp in black bean sauce dinner. We start by simply browning a little bit of onion and garlic and a small amount of oil. You add the shrimps and you allow them to caramelize. Add some water or chicken broth as a quick alternative and some fresh vegetables and allow it to simmer for a few minutes. Then add some black bean sauce from the Baron Gourmet Collection until it blends together. Now you're ready to enjoy your shrimp in black bean sauce with a little hot rice.
We hope we can inspire your next meal in minutes with the Baron Gourmet Collection. Baron, we make food.
For your complete range of household cleaning products, you can rely on Rinse. The 3 Ds: detergent, disinfectant, and dishwashing liquid. Easy to use, gentle on hands, and affordable pricing. Distributed by Hubbard's Agency and available island-wide. Rinse. Say hello to clean.
We now return to WatchDOG with Godfrey.
Welcome back. Mr. David, well, you based on your last statement, you will not be contesting this election. I recall some time ago, shortly after you were expelled from the NDC, you had a town meeting and you did say that you will be contesting the election.
Yes.
What has brought about the change? Are you afraid of the steel that the NNP has bought in?
No, quite to the contrary. I am still confident that had I run in the elections, I would have won. In fact, all of the indicators that we use showed that. But essentially one has to make a decision not only on whether or not you can win or lose, but simply whether or not it's in your best interest in the long run, whether or not it's in the interest of the country to do that. And it was a decision I took in consultation with a number of people, my family, I have very close friends, my political colleagues. Everybody knows who they are, and it is our view that we should begin our preparations for down the road rather than this elections. And it would be on our best interest to allow the two major parties to continue in these elections, and the result of these elections will determine to a large extent how we go forward. But no, it's just a decision based on what I believe is in my interest and the interest of my colleagues and in the political interest of
But you hold on, Andrew. But you said that you're confident that had you contested you would have won.
Sure.
But wouldn't it have been important for you to hold on to your place in the parliament?
Not necessarily. I mean, this whole issue that somebody can only make a difference by being in the parliament, that you're only relevant if you're in parliament. Between 2000 and 2003, I was not in parliament, but I was merely effectively the representative of the town of St. George. I still continue to work with the people of the town. I still continue to do service to the town of St. George. And being in parliament, while I agree, it's an important element of your political life, I do not think that not being there will necessarily affect me politically going forward. I will remain on the political landscape. I will remain politically involved. I will remain somebody who speaks on the issues. But for the next couple of years, I certainly will not be in the parliament. But, this is not going to be the last elections, Godfrey. There are many, many more elections to come.
So I have a couple of questions. One, you said for the next couple of years. So that means you're giving Mr. Steele, if he wins, or Miss Bernardine, if she wins, 2 years.
No, when I say next couple of years, I'm talking about in terms of active involvement in a party.
Involvement. So next question.
Okay,
so next question. Many people are of the view that the on again Peter David, the vacillation is an indication of a lack of leadership and a lack of strength on your part. What do you comment?
Andrew, if you decided you were going to leave here today and you were going to go into St. George's, and then somebody called you and said to you that there's a big war taking place by Sugar Mill, you'll change your mind. To those persons who say you can't change your mind, I say only a fool doesn't change his mind in the face of difficulties. One, as a politician, you have to consistently assess where you are. I have seen persons make decisions that they should have changed their mind. I have politicians who make a decision to go in a particular direction. When they saw the dangers, they should have changed their mind. Absolutely not. I think, quite frankly, it takes strong leadership for somebody to stand and say, listen, this was an error, I'm going to go in a different direction. And more of that should be done in our political discourse. So to just stand
Why has it not happened?
Why has not what happened?
This capacity to change
direction. I think there's a view, it's like the tribalism that takes place in our country. You're yellow or you're green and you're not supposed to change your view. And, I hear a lot of people who are voting one party or the other, only doing it based on on blind loyalty. I've had politicians who have said that I will follow somebody blindly. No, we as human beings are given the capacity to assess things, to reason things out, and to make decisions and to change those decisions based on what the objective and subjective conditions are. And quite frankly, those persons, I have stood against injustices all my life. Andrew, you know me from the student movement. I have been a member of the New Jewel movement. I was a member of the NDC, and every step of the way, I have fought for what I believe is right in the face of all the challenges. For example, I have stood up to many leaders in the face of
Are you now a member of the NNP?
No, I'm not a member of the NNP.
Would you consider being one?
I am not a member of the NNP. Now, what happens down the road with NNP, NDC, PLM, NUF is a matter for the future. I do not know where I'll be, Andrew. Quite frankly, as we speak, I am not a member of the NNP. I have not joined them. And I have been expelled from the NDC, and that is boy. Well, and that is why I say to a lot of the NDC people who come up to me and say, "Boy, you need to help us." You expelled me. The NDC had an opportunity to have myself, Senator Gill, Joe Gilbert, Glennis Roberts. All of us were on board. We had never left the NDC. We were kicked out, and to those persons who are today saying that we should support the NDC, it's too little, too late. We were kicked out. These voices should have been heard much earlier. So no, I'm not in the NMP, I'm not in the NDC.
You were seen at the NUF convention. What is your affiliation, association? Does it go beyond just attendance?
No, I was invited as it was a good feeling to be just simply a dignitary, and not a member of a political party.
Okay.
I just attended there, my friends and my colleagues, so I chose.
Mr. David, I know you do have some very strong ardent supporters in the town of St. George. How do they feel about you not contesting the election? Because I know some of them, they were behind Peter David. You know, you can do it as an independent candidate.
Yes.
You know, you've weighed everything, you've looked at it, and you've decided, you know what, now is not the right time. How do they feel?
Some of them are very upset. You know, you have some supporters who say, Peter, you disappointed us, we wanted you there. Some of them are quite understanding. I think the majority of them understand my position and support me fully in that. But of course, there are a few people, very close friends of mine, who say, boy, boss, you know, we feel you should have done it, you could have won it and all that. But I said to them, you know, I explained to them my reasons. We have very intimate discussions on the issue. And I said to them that they have a choice. They can vote NNP, they can vote NDC, or they can choose not to vote. Because as I've said several times, the right to vote also includes the right...
GOD?
Or they can vote GOD or GLP.
Yes.
They can do anything. But the right to vote also means you have the right not to vote. As I say to people, your right to free speech does not mean
I have a difficulty.
that you have to consistently be talking.
I have a difficulty with that.
Fine.
Because I know people, and anyone who is in their late 80s, 90s,
Right.
ordinary black working class people in Grenada did not have, in the course of their lifetime, the right to vote.
Suffrage.
Adult suffrage, 1951. And so I think most people have a responsibility and a duty, and to say that I have a right not to vote, you know, in your socialist paradise, everybody has to vote or be sick in hospital. So
that's your paradise.
No, Cuba has one of the highest turnouts. North Korea has 100% dead people vote in these places.
So the issue is whether or not people should feel
have
an obligation. No,
right.
I disagree with that, Andrew. I believe that the fight for the right to vote was a fight for a right. It was not a fight for an obligation. Your right to free speech, for example.
You would have had an obligation under a socialist government.
Well, you know, we can debate that. But the issue of free speech, for example, you have a right to speak. It doesn't mean that you don't have a right to silence, because there's also the right to silence. The right to vote is a right you have that you can exercise if you wish. But, for example, if many people choose not to vote, that is a clear indication to the political directorate that people are disenchanted with the political system. And I do believe that in these elections, that there are going to be a substantial amount of people who are going to not vote because they believe that they've been disappointed by politician after politician after politician. And that, in itself, that action, or non-action as you may call it, is in itself an indication as to what
I want to take you up on just that point, because look back. The politics of today is the politics of yesteryear. I mean, it's the same group of politicians being recycled. It's the same nonsense. I'm not hearing anybody tell me about the issues. You know, the NDC are saying to the electorate, oh, Peter David and them spoiled it. Give us another chance, as though this is lotto. The NNP, I heard their chairman in a meeting there on the news the other night saying, we will deliver a new economy. We're going to deliver new jobs. But I'm not hearing what is this new economy
and
what it's going to be. And so really what we're having is a lot of noise and rhetoric and empty vessels beating up and nothing new, nobody specific. We're not hearing specifics. I'm disappointed.
I agree with you absolutely, Andrew. You know, I hear, for example, on the NDC side, I hear some people saying, you know, we're voting against Keith, but they're not articulating what are the things you're going to do. You hear fear, and you hear, but what we need is hope that there will be something new. And I agree with you. In fact, I have articulated several times that after these elections, there will be a change. There will be a generational change where the politicians of what I call the post-1983 period will have to give way to a younger generation who have new ideas and fresh ideas as to where we want to take this country. And I think this government, whichever government comes in, has an opportunity to present something new and fresh to the country. And I think that is why there are a whole lot of people who are saying, you know, come one, come the other, we end up in the same way. I think there's an opportunity after these elections to address our young people, to address this country and say, listen, this is what we want to do. But I absolutely agree with you. All we are hearing, for the most part, is people are saying vote against this one or vote against that one, not
don't
vote
like him
for anything.
Yeah. We're actually not voting for anything.
Absolutely.
It's all against.
So then exercise your right not to vote. As Peter said, it's also a right.
It's also a right. I mean,
if you're not going to vote for anything, then why?
I will vote.
Well, of course. I mean, that is your right. Mr. David, let me get in here. The whole campaign, I mean, usually election campaigns it's like carnival. I remember 2008, it was a lot of flair. I mean, everywhere you turn, it was campaign. People were on the ball. This time around, it's very low-key. What do you think is responsible for that?
I think one is the whole question of financing. There's not as much money involved, it seems to me, from observing it in this campaign as there used to be. I guess a reflection of the state of the economy. I think it's also a reflection of the state of people's people's excitement about what is on the table. So I think this election is going to be not as exciting as the last one. But I think this election is going to be about people asking themselves, are they better off now than they were in 2008? And the answer to that question will lead to results in this election. I think, quite frankly, that the NDC has a difficult mountain to climb, because the NDC cannot just continue saying vote against Keith, vote against Keith. The NDC must say to the people, this is the program. They must first of all say their record, that this is what we did over the last 4.5 years, and this is what we are going to do over the next 5 years. You cannot just simply say to people, briefcase and Restine and so on. That kind of fear would have worked in 2008. But you have no, NDC has a record.
It's all allegations, nothing proven.
And absolutely, NDC had an opportunity to deal with those issues. They have a record on which they must run. So they have to say to the young people.
Well, they changed the name of the airport. They changed the name of the Lagoon Road. What else is there?
And the good governance policy is still there.
Good governance.
This is still there. But I tell you what, because I want to raise an issue as it relates to that. But let's take a break and we'll be right back.
Dutch lady, the milk above the rest. No other milk can test. Taste it for yourself. Dutch lady milk, it's up vitamins and nutrients. You wanna stay fit? It's great for the family. Drink it, mix it, blend it up, make a tasty drink. Pour it in your cup. Infants, children, and adults. Dutch lady milk, yes, drink it up.
Dutch lady, drink the milk, stand alone.
Dutch Lady Milk, available island-wide, distributed by Hubbard's Agency, located at Coroni James Boulevard, St. George. Call us at 435-0769 or 435-0771.
Bop insecticide spray kills flying and crawling insects. Available in supermarkets and shops nationwide.
Get serious. Get Bop.
For your complete range of household cleaning products, you can rely on Rinse. The 3 Ds: detergent, disinfectant, and dishwashing liquid. Easy to use, gentle on hands, and affordable pricing. Distributed by Hubbard's Agency and available island-wide. Rinse. Say hello to clean.
Superior one-on-one customer service. Phenomenal products customized to your individual style and need. Fast and efficient service are all attributes that have made St. Louis the leading manufacturers of windows and doors for over 30 years in St. Lucia. And we are now pleased to extend our services to you. Try our new single-hung windows, which can be tilted for easy cleaning. Our famous casement windows, which locks with keys for added security. Our gliders, projected aluminum and heavy sliding windows, sliding and commercial doors, commercial shop fronts, and more. Visit us today, building number 19 Frequente Industrial Park, St. George's, or call us at 439-6538.
Expertly crafted and designed with exciting colors, giving you that unique standout look. Your most valuable fashion investment. Land. Take it with you.
We now return to WatchDOG with Godfrey.
Welcome back. Just a little fun talk there in the break. Mr. David, there are two issues I really want to raise with you quickly. One has to do with the NDC representative in the town of St. George, and the other one has to do with the issue of good governance. You were part of the NDC.
Yes.
One of the NDC's main slogan in the 2008 election was one of good governance, accountability, and all the kind of nice things. And of course, Prime Minister Tillman Thomas is a very, very strong advocate of good governance. The issue as it relates to public servants on political platform, I do recall people like Mr. Fullerton and others. There were issues with them as it relates to being public servants and being, in frontline politics. What is the issue as it relates to public servants, or for that matter, a permanent secretary being on a political platform?
Which permanent secretary?
One of the permanent secretaries, I did see a permanent secretary, the wife of the Prime Minister, as a matter of fact, was on the NDC's political platform.
Well, yes, this is a difficulty because it's the Prime Minister's wife, and one would expect that she would come out and give the Prime Minister support. This is one of the issues that the public has said that, or not the public, sorry, some of the leadership of the party got angry with me for. When we came into office, we advised the Prime Minister that he should either retire his wife, promote and retire her, or move her to one of the statutory boards, because it would become a difficulty. And this is one of the difficulties, that here you have a permanent secretary, who is the Prime Minister's wife, who has all right to support her husband, but does not have the right to go do it as a public servant. Yeah. So you have placed her in a difficult position, and responsibility for that, in my view, rests with the Prime Minister. So he was advised of that, but then again, when I advised him not to do it, I was told that I'm opposing the Prime Minister, but again, I feel vindicated because of the fact of these problems.
But doesn't that leave some scars as it relates to the whole good governance issue?
Well, absolutely, because it presents the Prime Minister as if he is saying one thing and doing another thing. It's as the money issue within the NDC. Those are the things, and quite frankly, I believe it's people around the Prime Minister like Mr. Burke and others who know better. Mr. Burke knows better, but they're not advising the Prime Minister properly because it's in their interest to see these things happen within the NDC. And I have warned the Prime Minister, and we have warned him, that to continue taking that kind of advice would lead to the kind of problems that we currently have. So we advised the Prime Minister. I did my best, as I've always said to the Prime Minister. I will give him my best advice. He takes it, he takes it. He wants to demonize me. That's fine.
Well, the member of, well, not the member of parliament, the NDC representative for the town of St. George, Mrs. Franca Bernadine, there were talks that you were supporting her?
That's absolute nonsense. Listen, there are a couple of reasons why I cannot support Ms. Bernadine in town. One is that Ms. Bernadine was imposed on the constituency. I was illegally expelled from the NDC. Then the NDC went ahead.
Has that been proven?
The court has said it.
The court has said it. Sorry, yeah.
Now, what the NDC did was to hold a meeting. They did not call, as our constitution of the party mandates, they did not call the members of the NDC in the town of St. George and ask them who they want as their rep. They had a secret meeting, invitees only, and they imposed Ms. Bernadine on the town of St. George. She was undemocratically made the NDC candidate for the town of St. George. So I cannot support that kind of undemocratic imposition on a constituency that I hold very dear to my heart. So I've said it publicly and I repeat it. I will not and cannot support Franca Bernadine as the MP for the town of St. George.
Have you advised your supporters in the same vein?
Those I spoke to, I advised, and I've made it public. I don't think it's a secret. It's not the first time I'm saying it. And I have very good reason. It's not a personal issue. It's not only because I believe that the NDC treated me bad. No, she was undemocratically imposed on the people of the town of St. George. Why is it? With every other constituency, you had a mass gathering of people and you asked them who they want as a candidate, a public endorsement. But with respect to the town of St. George, they had a secret meeting with about 15 or 20 people.
I have a secret
and
meeting.
And they are the ones who decided that she is to be the candidate. I cannot support that. If I support that, I'll be going against my principles, and the Prime Minister himself has violated those things that he says he holds dear.
So and it leaves a question, the issue of good governance. Andrew, how come you're not saying anything on that?
On what? Good governance?
And some of these issues that Mr. David has raised.
No, a lot of these issues speak for themselves, but I have a question on a secret meeting and I have a question on the money. To begin with, The NNP campaign, while compared to last time, is not as splashy, but they certainly have made a big splash on the available TV and stuff.
The NNP or the
NNP. NDC have a couple, but they're not in the same league.
No money in between teams.
Every Toyota has a plaster of Mr. Steel. Clearly, where does the money come from? Where does the money come from?
Money comes from different sources, Andrew. We have no campaign finance laws. So individuals, businessmen, businesswomen,
how much does it cost to run a campaign?
You know, Andrew, the experience that I have had to run a
500,000,
campaign. You mean a national campaign?
2 million?
It can cost you up to $5 million to run a national campaign.
5 million.
Of course, $4 million.
Does that mean there's outside money coming in? Is there outside money coming in?
Andrew, to bring in Barry Salmon alone is about 80,000.
Okay. Yes. What sort of interest would fork over money?
Well, I think
regional
you have
interest?
Regional interest. You have persons who want to help a party. You have other parties that are lined up with other parties. No. $5 million does not come from one place.
No, I understand.
I'm saying you can have somebody give you 100,000, 200,000, 300,000.
Okay.
But campaigns in the region have been known to cost up to $4 or $5 million.
Forget the region. Hey, we're talking 100,000 people.
No, you're talking about $3, $4 million easily. You're talking about one major rally will cost you in transportation up to $100,000. So you're talking a lot of money.
It's interesting. It's interesting.
It means that people are up for grabs. I
mean, gentlemen, as you mentioned that, and you see so many jerseys and the billboards, and when you look at the amount of money spent on transportation, and over a year now, we have Mr. David's houses in Mount Rush. By now, they should need some repairs. If we use that money, we might be able to.
I only have one house, my brother. I have no houses in Mount Rush. I have one house, and it's where my father.
Let me ask you a question. How many houses do you have? You have one house.
Single one.
As someone who has put himself up for public office, is that a fair question to ask you? How many houses you have?
No. Well, we've passed. It is a fair question. In terms of integrity legislation. We have passed legislation that we have said that you must disclose the source of your money. So, for example, if Andrew, tomorrow you put yourself up to run for a seat, and we notice you buy yourself a Rolls Royce, you buy yourself a house.
Again, a duty free.
Yes, but you have to buy the vehicle.
Or you build 3 houses.
Or you build several houses. It's a fair question. No, the answer may be
entirely justifiable too. Yes.
Okay. But the question can be asked.
Okay. I have another question for you. You mentioned secret meetings, and I asked Philip to ask you. I don't know if he passed it on.
No.
I have been reliably informed that you had a secret meeting last week, and here is how it was told to me: that you put on your short pants and your hula hoop and you walked down your gap, crossed the street and went to Lexus.
Oh, yeah, I was asked about that. Lexus did, yes.
And that a certain vehicle dropped Mr. Carl Hood off with Dr. Mitchell. Did you have a secret meeting?
No, that's not true. That's not true. But let me tell you,
propaganda.
I didn't have a meeting at Lexus with Dr. Mitchell and Carl Hood.
Anywhere else?
But let me tell you, anywhere else.
Did you had no meeting with Dr. Mitchell anywhere else? You had no meeting with Dr. Mitchell
I'll answer the
anywhere else?
question. If I meet Dr. Mitchell, and I've met Dr. Mitchell several times all over the place.
Is your business?
I don't mean
Dr. Mitchell is a Grenadian. Dr. Mitchell is a leader of a party, he's a leader of Her Majesty's opposition. The kind of tribalism that says that if I have to have a meeting with Dr. Mitchell, I have to hide. No, I will have a meeting with Dr. Mitchell, and it will be as public as any meeting with Tillman Thomas, with yourself, with Godfrey.
So you met with him?
Because, you see, that kind of tribalism, that I will have to be on the defensive. I've met Dr. Mitchell several times, and I have no issue with that. I've met him in a parliament. I've met him in social activities. I have sat with him in all kinds of
private meetings, semi-private meetings.
I have not had secret meetings with Dr. Mitchell.
But you had private meetings.
I've seen him and we've spoken.
Okay. You visited his house, had a meeting at his house?
No. You can't. I'm asking. I'm a defense attorney. You can't lead me on to this. No, the answer is no.
The answer is no.
To the question of having secret meetings and so on.
Have you ever discussed
the nature?
Have you ever discussed with him the possibility of you
being involved?
No. Hold on. I'll ask my question. You ask all your questions. Have you ever had any discussion with him as it relates to you being, or you getting a major role within the NNP?
Let me answer the question that covers all of the issues.
Good.
I have no deal with the NNP that would give me any position in government if they win the elections. No. As I said, would
you accept a position?
One of the polls that were done.
Would you accept a position?
I will accept a position that helps me to help this country, but I've not been offered any position. If, for example, I'm asked to help in a particular capacity, and that is the problem we have. President Obama has reached out to Mr. Hagel, a Republican, to be his defense secretary. This tribalism, that is why I have never got to the position where I will defend or try to say that we should not speak to each other. As I said, I meet with people of all parties.
How do you feel about the yellow-green T-shirt thing? I mean, it's the politicians that are bringing us there. But then the people now say that they get into wars, they have their issues, and then the politicians sit and drink and ho.
You know, let me tell you, I am lamenting the fact that this country is suffering because of that tribalism. We've had years of this tribalism. I believe we have talent on all sides. We have talent in the NNP, we have talent in the NDC. Our country has 100,000 people, Andrew. If we continue to go down the road, when this government gets in, they have nothing to do with these people, and when this one gets in, it has nothing to do with these people. It's not only bad for us psychologically, it is bad for the economy of this country. We have limited talent, we should use that limited talent. If Dr. Mitchell or Mr. Thomas calls me and asks me to serve, to help, I have no choice but to listen to that. If the NNP wins and they ask me, I have to consider it. If the NDC wins, if Windy Frederick wins and asks me to serve this country, when he wins, he says he's going to help in the morning at 771, I will have to serve. The point I'm making is this, Andrew, that I hope that whoever wins this election will not go down that tribal road, will not go down a road which says it's we time now, but should go down a road which says it's Grenada's time now. And
if I have like an NNP man.
If I have to sit with Mr. Thomas, Mr. Dr. Keith Mitchell, or whoever it is, I am prepared to work for this country. And if I go to Dr. Mitchell's home to do that, that's fine. I've been to Mr. Thomas's home. Let me tell you, there is nobody who has treated me worse than the NDC in this country. But still, I'm saying here that I'm willing to help this country because it's not about a party. It's not about Chairman Thomas or Nazimburg. It's about Grenada.
A quick question. Given all that you have said, didn't they ask you to help support Franca and get her back, and you said you wouldn't do that?
Because Franca is undemocratically imposed on the people.
My final question to you, Mr. David. My final question to you. Former member of the NDC, what do you think are the chances in the upcoming election? NDC's chances?
They have a serious mountain to climb. NDC has a problem with their record. NDC has a problem presenting to the people what they've done. I believe, quite frankly, that there were lost opportunities all along the way. I believe that the NDC has not presented any substantial programs for this country, and that the only thing they seem to be campaigning on is fear. Fear of Keith Mitchell. Are we going to go back there, the briefcase and the this and the that? That is not enough. So quite frankly, how they are going to climb that mountain. I remember I went to the Court of Appeal once and the judge said, Mr. Nelson, how are you going to climb? Let us see how you are going to climb that mountain of a case you have. Let us see how the NDC will climb that mountain of an election that they have in front of them. I am not optimistic for them.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Let me just give you 30 seconds to make any closing remarks.
Well, no, I just want to wish that we have a clean campaign, that the issues, as Andrew said earlier, and I agree with Andrew 100%, I think that the issues need to be presented. I would say to both parties, tell the people what you're going to do for them. Do not just tell the people who to fear. Tell them who to love. Tell them what to go to. People who are Christians go to Christ because of the love Christ has for them, not only a fear of hell. I think you can't win on that. So I would say to all of the participants, do their best, try to keep it clean. And I do hope that following the elections that the country benefits. Too many times the politicians win and not the country. I do hope that the country can win this time around.
I would just like to say that I share some of Mr. David's sentiments. I implore and plead with Grenadians to go out there in record numbers and vote. I think that it will really set the tone for what's to come. I'd also like us to keep it clean. There's no need for this fighting and road blocking and that. Let's not bring this Jamaican, with all due respect to Jamaica, violence to our campaigns. Let's keep it clean. With regard to the mountain you refer to, I hope there are no landslides.
As a matter of fact, Andrew, you preempted me there. But I do share the views of both Mr. David and Andrew here. I do hope that folks, go out and vote. And of course, when you go to your public meetings, try and get the message. I don't know the issue of fear and that of briefcase and jerseys and all this sort of nonsense. It really doesn't cut it. Let us put Grenada first. And of course, I like the issue of the good governance. I like the issue of accountability and everything like that. But if we're going to go down that road, let's start practicing it. Let's not just talk good governance. Let's practice it. Let's lead by example. That's our program this week, folks. Remember, Watchdog is aired Mondays at 8, repeated Saturdays at 8. Do join us then, and remember, the dog is watching.
Godfrey's Wardrobe, provided by Adonis Men's Store, Spiceland Mall, Grand Anson. Watchdog came to you compliments Western Union, the fastest way to send and receive money worldwide. And furniture for Watchdog provided by Hubbard's.